Members of the Brescia community, family, and friends, I now present to you the faculty and staff of Brescia University. It's my pleasure now to present our Student Leader honorees for 2018. The President of Brescia University, Father Larry Hostetter, and the Platform Party. Good morning and welcome to Brescia University's Founders Day celebration and our winter convocation. I now invite Cameron Robinson, SGA President, to come forward to offer our invocation. Gentlemen, it's customary to remove your hats or caps for the prayer and the national anthem. Please stand and remain standing after the prayer for the singing of the antiphon.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to gather in this place today. Thank you for the many blessings that you bestow upon us and the love that you show to us on a daily basis. I ask, Lord, that you bless each and every one of us here in this place today, and I ask that you bless the faculty as they settle into the educational process of the new semester. I also ask that you bless the staff who worked so hard to help Brescia prosper and thrive. Finally, Lord, I ask that you bless these student leaders who are sitting before us today. These students exemplify hard work, determination, and commitment to their education, sport, and to the Brescia community. All of these recipients have proven that they value the principles which St. Angela taught the Ursuline sisters many years ago. It is through her spirit, with guidance from you, Lord, that these students are able to represent Brescia to the best of their abilities. We love you, Lord, and ask that you continue to watch over us and guide us in the best way so that we may rightly serve you at all times. Thank you, and in the precious name of Christ our Savior, amen.
Please be seated. I'd now like to invite Joshua Clary, Vice President of Student Affairs and Dean of Students, to the podium. He will serve as our MC for the rest of today's convocation.
Thank you, Sister Cheryl. Good morning, everyone. Morning. I want to take this opportunity to share some thoughts with you about the leadership development program the Office of Student Affairs has created, the Caritas Workshop Series, which we have taglined, Learning to Lead with Love. The program is our attempt to discover and engage with a love beyond self. Rooted in the gospel and the Greek agape love, Caritas as love is an authentic giving of oneself. Caritas is about making yourself vulnerable to enter into solidarity with another. But where do we find this type of love? We may often think that we find Caritas love in the work of justice, but this is only partially true. Justice without charity is hollow, for without the undergirding of love, there is no reason to seek justice. A just society must be the achievement of politics, but not necessarily that of the church. Yet the promotion of justice through efforts to bring about openness of mind and will to the demands of the common good is something which concerns the church deeply. The practical activity of justice will always be insufficient unless it visibly expresses a love for humanity, a love nourished by an encounter with Christ. Loving God without loving our neighbor is a lie. However, when we love our neighbor, we love God. So what then do we know about a life of charity? We know, unfortunately, from experience that life is tough and full of pain. There is war, famine, poverty, sickness, loneliness, abuse, neglect, and many other forms of suffering. The work of charity is to bring hope to hopeless situations, to bring love into situations without love, and friendships into situations where human beings no longer feel able to accept themselves. Love and charity will not make sickness, need, and suffering disappear from our world. The task of charity is to transform this suffering into a new vitality. Caritas seeks to make life livable in spite of sickness, in spite of need, in spite of suffering. It seeks to bring faith, hope, and love into our world. We know that ultimately our efforts to eradicate suffering will fall short, but we love and act in spite of that knowledge through our everyday acts of kindness and love. Living a life of caritative love is an intentional act, and so I have found that exercising leadership in a caritative way is also intentional. Servant leadership, as Christ showed us through the Gospels, is countercultural. In the Gospel of Matthew, Christ told his followers, James and John, the sons of Zebedee, "Whoever wishes to be great among you shall be your servant. Whoever wishes to be first among you shall be your slave. Just so the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life as ransom for many." To be a leader in the mold of Christ is to upend cultural norms and expectations. The primary traits of a servant leader are to be a good listener, to be in solidarity with others as a first among equals, and to serve others rooted in the love of your neighbor. The Caritas Workshop Series is designed to provide students with the opportunity to develop their own servant leadership abilities, explore leadership opportunities on campus, and to envision ways in which they can be leaders in their community by embracing the ideals of Caritas theology and leading because of the love they have for others. The program includes sessions on a wide variety of topics, including personality assessments, faith, diversity, and peaceful conflict resolution. Students, I encourage you to consider signing up as a cohort member or to attend some of the optional sessions if you are able. Faculty and staff, please encourage at least one student to participate in our program. You will receive information about the Caritas program, which begins in February later this week. I hope you will join us as we embark on this journey and explore leading with love together. It is now my pleasure to call upon Patricia Lovett, Director of Student Activities and Leadership Development, who will help us recognize our student leaders for their contributions to campus life. Patricia?
Good morning. Before I get started, it took me a lot to try to figure out what to say about you guys. There were so many good words and things like that from faculty and staff and your coaches. But before we start, I want to talk a little bit about what Josh said about student leadership. This is the most exciting time in your lives. And the fact that you take time out to serve university where you're not getting any credit for it or a grade, and you're gaining such great leadership and valuable things that you can use later on in your career. As a student leader at Brescia, you are thrown into the learning environment and you are encouraged to do hands-on experience, from planning events to making decisions, communicating, working with your team, and these are all great skills that you're learning as a student leader. This year we have a record number of student organizations. We have 24. When I first came here we had 15, so that's huge from 2013 to now, along with our 18 athletic teams, which gives all our students here a great opportunity to interact outside the classroom. Think about it. Right now you can put into action changes that will impact the entire campus and improve your student organization or your athletic team, which you're a part of. It is now up to you to grasp some of these various opportunities that are within your reach. And with that being said, the following students that are here before you today have done that and much, much more. So I'd like for the student leaders to stand. Our first recipient of the Leadership Award is Maggie Blue. Maggie is a senior biology major from Louisville, Kentucky. Maggie is a work-study student in the Office of Student Affairs, and she's really dedicated to SAPB this year, for the last 3 years actually. She's been instrumental in programming the Vegas Nights, Fall Festival, and the Farewell Fest. I've enjoyed working with Maggie and seeing her grow professionally. And this semester, if you guys want some great stories, she is currently interning with the Owensboro Police Department this semester. So, Maggie Blue. Our next recipient is Alana Mudd. Alana is a senior elementary education major from Caneyville, Kentucky. Alana is a student ambassador, orientation leader, and a peer educator and a tutor in the Ursuline Center for Teaching and Learning. She is our 2016 Brescia University Homecoming Queen, and last year she spearheaded and developed a service opportunity entitled Advocates of English of students of diversity, and several faculty, staff, and students got to go volunteer at the Islamic Center here in Owensboro. The volunteers help tutor children in the areas of English along with their parents. Lana is also the vice president of SGA, and she's being recognized for her hard work with SGA in the Brescia community. During this semester, there's been several times where I have had to come to Lana for help or guidance or to step up into various roles, and she's not hesitated once. So as your advisor, I'm very grateful and thankful for all you do for the student body. Lana Mudd. Chase McCauley is a senior business major from Louisville, Kentucky. Chase has served as a resident assistant and a work study student in the Office of Student Affairs. His nominator wrote, Chase has been a leader on the cross-country and track and field programs. He's always wants to do what he can to help himself and his teammates improve. In practice, Chase is the one encouraging his teammates to keep pushing themselves. In every track event Chase has competed in, his top performances place him in the top 10 best in Brescia athletics history. Chase is a valuable member of the Brescia family and will be missed as he graduates this spring. Last fall, Chase was also elected as the River States Conference Scholar Athlete recipient. Chase McCauley. Our next recipient, Alicia Salazar, but we know her as Sal, is a sophomore elementary education major from Elkton, Kentucky. As an incoming freshman student athlete last year, she made quite an impact in just a short time and became a great example of what Brescia University students represent. Last fall, she hit the ground running in her leadership role as an orientation leader and peer educator. Sal is a member of the women's basketball team and track team. She's team captain on the track and field team. Her nominator wrote, she does anything that is asked of her without complaining. During her freshman year, she set the 100-meter hurdle school record. In all other events she competed in, her top performances are within the 3 best in Brescia athletics history. Alicia Salazar. Kyle Robinson is a junior secondary education major from Henderson, Kentucky. Kyle is a resident assistant and member of the men's cross country and track and field team. Kyle has led the cross country team with a top 20 finish at the River States Conference. Coming in 19th overall, he received awards as a champion of character and the River States Conference Scholar Athlete recipient. Not only is Kyle a scholar athlete, but he is being recognized for his work as a student ambassador. His nominator wrote, Kyle is a definition of steady and dependable. He's a hard worker who accepts every task handed to him without complaint. He has a positive attitude and laid-back disposition. We know we can always count on him to help out. Kyle Robinson. Ryan Oates is a junior biochemistry and mathematics major from Hazel, Kentucky. Ryan is the vice president of ZEST, treasurer of Alpha Chi and Music Club, and a member of SAPB, an orientation leader, and in the Honors College. During his time here at Brescia, he's been on the Dean's List every semester. His nominator wrote, Ryan is the president of Ichabod Society this year. He has coordinated, participated in the club fair, organized a chariot for the chariot races, put together the successful mystery night. He is well organized and manages to excite students with his enthusiasm. And I have to agree, I've enjoyed working with Ryan in SAPB. Let's welcome Ryan Oates to the stage. Luan Yoshida is a junior chemistry major from San Jose dos Campos, Brazil. Luan is a midfielder for the men's soccer team and has been the team captain for the last 2 years. This year, his teammates voted him best teammate and best leader. Luan is also a River States Conference Scholar Athlete recipient. He also graduated last spring with his associate's degree in engineering from Brescia. Luan is a volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club and also helps kids at Sports Tutor Futsal Academy here in Owensboro. Luan Yoshida. Haley Coombs is a junior accounting major from Owensboro, Kentucky. Haley is a 3-year starter for the women's soccer team. Her nominator wrote, she is essentially an all-around player, and she has played every position this year with the exception of goalkeeper. Off the field, she's a great asset to Brescia community as a tutor for the Ursuline Center Teaching and Learning. She's also been in the Dean's List every semester during her time here at Brescia. Let's welcome Haley Coons to the stage. Our next recipient couldn't be here with us because he is an online student, but I still want to recognize him. Wyatt Locke is a senior social work major from Orlando, Florida. The nominator wrote, in the spring of 2016, the School of Social Work created their first chapter of Phi Alpha National Social Work Honor Society. It is an online student-led organization. Wyatt was among the first group of students to be inducted into the Honor Society and is one of the most active students that first semester by helping to develop Constitution and the bylaws along with the chapter, helping the chapter get officially recognized. In Phi Alpha's first academic year, which is 2016-2017, Wyatt was the chapter's vice president. He was a wonderful leader for his students from the beginning. Last spring, the chapter lost the president, and Wyatt did not hesitate to step in, and he added, he never complained about the added work and instead continued to foster the community. This year, Wyatt was elected as president. He filled this position with grace, commitment, and motivation. And this year, the executive meeting has been working with guest speakers at the chapter meetings, beginning a fundraiser so they can send students to the national conferences. Wyatt's leadership has been instrumental in the growth of the chapter, and we hope that he continues to serve social work profession with such fervor. Let's give Wyatt a round of applause and say hi to him. He said he'd be watching online today. Our next recipient is Courtney Reels. Courtney is a senior communications and science disorders major from Bowling Green, Kentucky. Courtney has been the president of the National Student Speech Language Hearing Association, we say NSLA, for the last 2 years. She's volunteered at the Humane Society. She's hosted NSLA paint parties, fundraisers, and is tutored in the Ursuline Center for Teaching and Learning. Courtney has been on the Dean's List every semester during her time here at Brescia. She is also co-captain for the Brescia volleyball team, and she has a record over 700 digs in her career and has been the backbone of the team. Courtney is a 2-year NIA Scholar Athlete and received honors as a champion of character in the River States Conference for volleyball. Her nominator wrote, "She has a pleasant, upbeat personality and a can-do attitude. Her leadership has been a great contribution to the Communication Science and Disorders program." Courtney Reels. Daniel Steele is a sophomore accounting major from Bardstown, Kentucky. He is a Moore Scholar recipient, a member of the men's Brescia golf team, and a student ambassador. His nominator wrote, "Daniel is a very well-respected student athlete here at Brescia. His leadership and character do not waver in his daily activities on the course or in the classroom. He is a valuable piece of campus community, and I feel very fortunate to have him on my team." Let's welcome Daniel Steele to the stage. Brooke Heidebaugh is a junior accounting major from Brownstown, Indiana. Brooke has been on the Brescia women's golf team for 3 years and has served as an alumni and peer mentor. Her nomination reads, "Brooke has displayed leadership, dedication, and service in all aspects of life. She is a role model and student athlete. She is an asset to her team, and we are lucky to have her." Let's welcome Brooke Heidebaugh to the stage. Cheyenne Bennett is a senior art major from Utica, Kentucky. Cheyenne currently serves as the president for Brescia Arts Club for the last 2 years. She is the recipient of the Hockett Art Scholarship and the Theophilia Joan Oxymon Art Show Award for stained glass. She's also organized campus-wide events in the Creative Art Week and has been recognized in the annual juried art show and leading Brescia events in the art club, such as the Fall Festival, yarn bombing, and being team leader in a collaborative mural project. Cheyenne is also a mentor for the Sophomore Mentor Program. Let's welcome Cheyenne Bennett to the stage. Our next recipient is April Gilbert. She's a junior psychology major from Central Kentucky. She's a work-study student in the Father Alvey Library and has been on the Dean's List every semester here at Brescia. She is the president of the Psych Club. Her nomination reads, "She's a very active president. She spearheaded a trunk or treat event, organized club participation for charity races, and organize movie night and work to fundraise for the club. Let's welcome April Gilbert to the stage. Mason Rowland is a biology major from Seabury, Kentucky. He is a member of the men's basketball team and also serves as captain. He is also active in the Captains and Coaches Leadership Program sponsored by the athletic department. Mason's been involved in several community service projects such as Hurricane Harvey relief efforts through Legacy Owensboro Church. His nominator wrote, "Mason is an intelligent young man who cares about others. He puts team first and his leadership skills have grown every year since he's been at Brescia. He's a great leader and very deserving of this award." Let's welcome Mason Rowland to the stage. Jade Robinson is a sophomore psychology major from Elkton, Kentucky. Jade is a member of the Brescia women's basketball team and has been on the dean's list every semester here at Brescia. She is also a member of the Sophomore Class Council and Sophomore Honor Society. Her nomination reads, "Jade is an excellent student and role model in the classroom and on the basketball court. She is also a leader on the team and looked up to even though she is a sophomore." Let's welcome Jade Robinson to the stage. Our next recipient is Shane Callis. Shane is a senior biology major with an emphasis in finance and economics from Sean College from Portland, Tennessee. Sean is the fifth-year senior on the Brescia baseball team. Sean displays leadership qualities in all functions of the baseball program, including assisting in community service projects for the team. He's very respectful and always the first to step in to help his teammates. Sean goes above and beyond in all aspects of baseball and the university, and he is deserving of this award. Let's welcome Sean Callis to the stage. Our final recipient is Alex Wink. Alex is a junior mathematics major from Owensboro, Kentucky. She's a member of SAPB and the Brescia University Habitat Student Chapter, peer educator, and orientation leader. She is also the 2017 Brescia University Homecoming Queen and the SGA historian. But today she's being recognized for her contributions to the Office of Residence Life as a resident assistant. Her nominator wrote, "Alex is always willing to help out when needed. She has a servant's heart and is a great leader to those both in and out of her residential community." Let's welcome our final recipient to the stage, Alex Wink. Let's give the students another round of applause. I just have a few final words. As students who are sitting in the audience, I hope you're encouraged by your peers' accomplishments, and I want to encourage you to get involved during your time here at Brescia. One of my favorite quotes is by Cory Booker, who happens to be a senator from New Jersey, and he says, "Leadership is not a position or a title, it is an action and example," and I think our students have shown that here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Patricia, for all that you do in shepherding and cultivating our student leaders. It is now my pleasure to welcome to the podium Keith Hudson, Assistant Professor of Social Work and Chair of the Marilyn Conley Younger Conley School of Social Work, who also chairs the Spirit of Angela Award Committee, to introduce our first recipient of the Spirit of Angela Award, Keith.
Angela Marisi, answering God's call to her heart, creatively founded the Company of St. Ursula in 1535 in Brescia, Italy. The Order of St. Ursula, with its education mission, was cultivated from the seeds planted by Angela in the company. Brescia University developed out of those very seeds planted by Angela and is being guided by her spirit today. Angela Marisi, person of integrity, deep listener, gentle friend, creative leader. Members of Brescia family were given the opportunity to nominate a Brescia student who possesses in significant ways the spirit of Angela Marisi. From among those students nominated, a panel of judges identified 2 individuals that most followed the ideals of St. Angela. I have the pleasure of introducing the first Spirit of Angela recipient, Jennifer McCluskey. Now, I've got a few pages here, so. Jennifer is one of those individuals who makes an impression upon introduction that does not disappoint throughout the course of your interactions with that person. Passionate about societal well-being and her faith, Jennifer exemplifies the spirit of Angela in her personal endeavors and professional life. Throughout her participation in the MSW program, Jennifer has demonstrated a great intellectual capacity, a devotion to Caritas and social work values, steadfastness to professionalism in field and work, excellence in her academic performance, and leadership in her collegiality with other students and professors. Creating a sense of community and connection, Jennifer is always going above and beyond within the group, among her cohort, in field towards inclusion, empowerment, and compassion. Most recently, she was recognized in her field placement where she works with families in a supportive housing program for creating and implementing a series of workshops on self-care for the agency's staff. In a note of appreciation, her field supervisor acknowledged Jennifer's impact on the agency and her clients, as well as her dedication to the social work profession. Going off script for a second, that shouldn't surprise any of you all. In that activity, one of the self-care activities, she had an adult male from another country to use crayons for the first time, who then asked for the crayons after the activity was over. That's creativity. To further elaborate on Jennifer's commitment to making a difference in the world, she is involved in a wide range of advocacy activities in the U.S. and abroad. For example, she spends her time lobbying for social justice in D.C., working on human trafficking across the country, as well as mission work in Kenya, helping to provide eye clinics and working with the Kenyan School of Hope, which works to help young women finish their education, along with raising awareness of female genital mutilation and forced marriage. In all that she has accomplished, Jennifer is a very humble person about her achievements, and she is the type of person who prefers to focus attention on addressing social issues. However, she is not to be underestimated, as once a need is identified, she will swiftly mobilize efforts towards finding solutions and resources. She is a doer, and by being a doer, she makes us be doers also, in all aspects of the word. Jennifer is inclusive of others and reaches out to try to build upon a team approach. She exemplifies the caring nature of social work. I'm almost through. In Jennifer's words, I greatly enjoy volunteering and find it to be one of the highlights of my life. I love when I can impact an organization with my abilities, but I also enjoy the time learning with other people. I have a great passion for women's rights of all kinds. Most of my volunteering focuses on needs of women and children and how we can break the cycles of abuse, how we can break the cycles of poverty, how we can break the cycles of low education. I have a great passion to end human trafficking, but learned early on with volunteering in this line of servanthood that you must balance it with time away from the work because it is the most physically and emotionally demanding. I have learned that I cannot pour from an empty cup, so I make sure I take care of myself so that I can work better for others. My style of leadership before Brescia was the promotion of servant leadership. Once I started looking at schools, I found Brescia's difference. It stood out to me as a place that would fit my needs and desires as a student who seeks to serve in this way. I try to live daily my faith, and in doing that, I want people to see what I do because it matters more than what I say. I want people to look at me and see something that makes them stop and wonder, and in that wondering, want to see what my faith is about, and perhaps seek answers to those questions for themselves. My faith is foremost in my purpose. I try to ask the question, will this honor God in things that I do, and each day try to think of things I can do to show someone else what faith can look like. With all of that being said by and about Jennifer, I would like for Jennifer to come up and receive her award. Jennifer. Thank you. Next, I would like to ask Sister Pam to make the next presentation.
Guess I better use these. Today I have the privilege of introducing our second recipient of the Spirit of Angela Award. The 2018 Brescia University male recipient is junior political science major Rylan Smith. Before Rylan comes to the stage to accept his award, let me try to briefly share why he is so deserving of it. This is how a fellow student described Rylan. He leads with strong faith, welcomes everyone without discrimination, builds people up, speaks out courageously on situations of injustice, helps others in need willingly, and makes personal connections with everyone he meets. He is compassionate, good-natured, and kind-hearted, and is intent on doing the most good with nothing in return. He is truly an altruistic soul. When interviewed, here are some important things I learned about Rylan. Rylan has participated in several organizations and clubs, including Alpha Chi National Honor Society, the Honors College, the Political Science Club, the Psychology Club, BU's chapter of Habitat for Humanity, and even started a new environmental club in the fall of 2017. And this is what he told me. I discover more about myself as I work with others with similar interests and passions and appreciate more this saying from my freshman orientation. And Josh, you're going to like this. I become me by becoming we. Whoops. Starting the Environmental Club grew out of his becoming a member of Owensboro's Sierra Club, dedicated to environmental protection and Rylan's passion for creation. As much as his schedule allows, and I don't know how he does this, he also volunteers at the Daniel Patino Shelter and the Owensboro Humane Society. Similar to St. Angela, Ryland's spirituality is that of following Jesus in the everydayness of life. He said the best way he can respect the sacred is by reliving the sacred. For Ryland, this means imitating Jesus's command to love our neighbor and, in Ryland's own words, walk the walk. He said, Jesus made no exceptions based on race, ethnicity, socioeconomic class, age, sexual orientation, gender identity, national origin, religion, disability, or language, and I want to attempt to do the same. Love everyone with no exceptions. When asked what gave his life meaning and purpose at this time, he said his goals and ambitions. He went on to say, I want to attend law school, become an environmental or human rights lawyer, and who knows, maybe become president someday. This quote, which is the Methodist Creed, was taught to Hillary Clinton by her mother and now made famous. And this, to Ryland, sums up what gives him meaning and purpose. It says, do all the good you can for all the people you can, in all the ways you can, as long as you can. Please welcome Ryland to the stage to accept his 2018 Spirit of Angela Award.
Josh wanted to introduce me, but I figure if you all don't know who I am by now, we're in trouble. Good morning. It's good to be with all of you today as we celebrate Founders Day. And I think this is the 10th anniversary of this winter convocation to celebrate the accomplishments of our students and remind ourselves of the origins in the values and vision of the great 16th century woman, St. Angela Merici. And regarding those values, isn't it appropriate that instead of a long list, we instead highlight those students here who have embodied those values in their own exercise of leadership at Brescia? Congratulations to all of you for this recognition. You were chosen by faculty, staff, and peers, and they could have picked someone else. And congratulations to our newest recipients of the Spirit of Angela Award, Ryland and Jennifer. We're proud of you. Well deserved. Today is also the day we honor the daughters of St. Angela, our own Ursuline sisters. Make sure you say thank you to your favorite Ursuline and come out to the ball game tonight because we're going to honor them in a special way. So in honor of Ursuline Appreciation Day, would all of the Ursuline sisters here today please stand so that we can recognize you. Which brings us to the original reason of this convocation, which was to give me an opportunity to kind of give our community an update on the state of the university. And when we first started doing this, I sometimes would trip up and I'd say, State of the Union. Others would say that, Ryland, I don't want that job. You can have it. And then a while back I actually said State of the Universe. I really don't want that job. But I'm going to use a format this year that I used a few years ago and kind of put on the back burner for a while, which is just to take a look at our various areas that we have here, because we've got a fair number of new faculty and staff and new students, and I thought it would be nice to take a look at how this university functions and highlight some significant events and achievements from those areas, along with the hardworking individuals who keep our university running. So let's start with academics. Academics, of course, are the primary reason we are here, to help our students attain their academic goals, specifically in receiving an associate, a bachelor's, or a master's degree. And under the leadership of Sister Cheryl Clemens, the Academic Affairs Office includes the library, the Ursuline Center for Teaching and Learning, assessment and institutional research, the Associate Academic Dean, our faculty, the Registrar's Office, and has co-responsibility with the L3 program for theology, High School Theology Institute, BU 101, Career Services, and BU Online. And I would ask everybody in those areas, please to stand so that we can recognize you. It means a lot of you. We all know how thorough Sister Cheryl is. And I asked all of the cabinet members to send me a brief executive summary of some of the highlights in the area that I could incorporate into this speech. And so I received from the various cabinet members anywhere from a quarter page to a full page of information. Except from Sister Cheryl, I received 5 pages of single-spaced emails. Like I said, we all know how thorough she is. But in fairness, the academic area is multifaceted, and our VP for Academic Affairs is very proud of all that you do in that area to further the academic careers of our students. It was a challenge, however, to select just some of those highlights because they're all great. So I thought I'd focus just on one of our newest efforts, the Ursuline Center for Teaching and Learning, because so many of us are involved with that. I'd say all of us are involved with that in one fashion or another. So in the fall, in the Learning Center of that Ursuline Center, we had 250 students in tutoring with 25 student tutors and 4 administrative staff tutors. In addition, there were 33 online students who took advantage of tutoring. Most of the tutoring was in math, writing, and research methods. So here are some outcomes that are pretty neat. So in math, there were 97 students in tutoring, and those in math 005, 93% of students who attended tutoring passed, compared to 50% of those who did not take advantage of tutoring. Math 111, 94% of students who attended tutoring passed, compared to 38.5% of those who did not. Similar stats for English. There were 73 students in tutoring. English 010 and IDC 009, 96.5% of students who attended tutoring passed, compared to 27% of those who did not. English 101 and 102, 96 of those who attended tutoring passed, compared to 43%. So for those of you who are students, if you're not taking tutoring, you might think about it. But congratulations to all of you who did take advantage of it. And thank you to our tutors, those who staff the UCTL, and our faculty who create the academic foundation without which tutoring would be futile. These stats should make all of you proud of having helped someone gain the confidence and the knowledge to pass their courses. In addition, through the funding of the UCTL, faculty and students were able to participate in high-impact practices. Faculty were able to add to their professional development in the areas of teaching and technology, and we were able to renovate the physics lab and observatory and begin work on the renovation of another biology lab. I love the fact that our students are traveling, not only in this country, but internationally. Since last year's Founders Day, we had students and faculty travel to the Czech Republic to participate in a learning experience there, to the British Isles, as well as our first faculty exchange with George Gray spending several months in Olomouc. And as part of that exchange, we're going to be welcoming a faculty member from the Caritas School of Social Work here on our campus in March. Our faculty continue to make others aware of Brescia through their own conference lectures, publications, and exhibits. That was one of Sister Cheryl's pages, and it's far too long for me to list here. But Sister Cheryl, I'm going to ask you to share that information with our community in another way, because it's really remarkable to see what everybody is doing. All of this gives evidence to the high quality of our educational experience here at Brescia. And it's not just me saying this. We're also recognized by outside organizations. I'm going to read some of the recognitions that we've received since last year this time. This is for 2018. We were recognized by College Choice as one of the best colleges in Kentucky, most affordable online masters in social work by GoEducated.com, a best college in the Southeast by Princeton Review, a best value school by University Research and Review. We received the United States Presidential Volunteer Service Award for our work with junior achievement. We were number 42 of Best Private College by Lend EDU. Overall college for lowest student loan debt in the nation by Lend EDU. Best online bachelor's in social work program in 2017, bestcolleges.com. Number 6, affordable online graduate certificates in accounting by affordablecolleges.com. 20 best online colleges in Kentucky for 2017, College Choice. Champions of Character 5-Star Award, NAIA. Number 4, best college for lowest student loan debt in Kentucky. 2018 Best Regional College by the Princeton Review, Best Online Bachelor's in Social Work Program by bestcolleges.com. America's Best Colleges for Adult Learners by the Washington Monthly. 30 Best Affordable Online Bachelor's in Psychology by bestdegreeprograms.org. Number 5 Most Affordable Online Theology Degree by affordablecollege.com. 100 Best Online Colleges for 17-18 by thebestschools.org. The 2018 Best Colleges and Universities by WalletHub. Best University Bachelor's in Social Work Degrees by College Choice. 10 Best Online Bachelor's in Accounting Degree Programs Online Course Report. Best Online Colleges in Kentucky by bestcollege.org. Top 10 Bachelor's in Theology. We're also listed as a college of distinction both within the state and as a Catholic institution. And by U.S. News and World Reports, we again received a Best Regional College in the South distinction. And for the first time, we were recognized in their Best Online Bachelor's Program category. We get lots of these things from various websites and other things, but they're important because prospective students, especially adult students, will look at these websites in determining which college they want to go to. So being listed and recognized for our programs is important to us. And we're there because of all of you. So good job, everyone. Let's move to student affairs. I could say a lot more about academics, but I know we have lunch sometime today. So we'll move on to student affairs. Under the leadership of Dean Josh Clary, areas under student affairs include residence life, campus ministry, the counseling center, student activities and leadership development, the Student Government Association, athletics, with co-responsibility for BU 101 and career services. And I would ask everybody connected to student affairs, please stand so that you can be recognized. Student affairs is critical to the educational experience of our students, ensuring that what happens outside of the classroom not only enhances that experience, but is an essential part of the learning outcomes of our university. This is seen in the highlights that Josh provided me for today's speech. BU 101 brought the author of The Common Read to campus as part of the freshman first year experience. William Kamkwamba spoke to 200 students, faculty, and staff about his book, The Boy Who Harnessed the Wind. Career Services increased the number of internships from 14 in the spring of 17 to 18 this spring, and our students will benefit from a lifetime from the financial literacy sessions offered to on-ground and online students through a partnership with Fifth Third Bank. Our student athletes increased their cumulative GPA this spring from 3.07 to 3.13. I think last year was the first year that ever got above 3.0. So I know there's a lot of student athletes here. Let's give them a round of applause. And for all of our students, whether athletes or not, who strive every day, working very hard to achieve their goals, congratulations. With the completion of the go ahead. With the completion of the renovation of the Moore Center, our athletes and all our students, as well as our faculty and staff, have a virtually new facility where they can work out, relax, or just enjoy a cup of coffee. If you've haven't tried any of the specialty drinks at Barney's, you're missing out. And they actually make a pretty good espresso outside of Italy if you like good coffee. Obviously, there's much more happening in student life. Thank you for all you do to make sure that our students learn, not only in the classroom, but wherever they find themselves on campus, including the residence halls or the playing fields. We now come to admissions and enrollment. Under the direction of Chris Hauk, those who report in this area make sure that the experience of academics and student life, our story, the Brescia difference, is told in an effective and attractive way for future students and enroll them with attractive scholarships and financial aid. So reporting to admissions and enrollment includes financial aid, the enrollment admissions team, student ambassadors, and BU Online. Would all of you please stand? In any culture, storytellers are essential if that culture is going to flourish. And that's no different from a university. And I think in many ways, our enrollment and admissions offices function as that for us. They tell our story. And while we're in a tight enrollment environment nationally and within our state, we can still highlight some of the successes as well as the challenges. First, a little bit of a challenge. For this year, our total headcount in the fall was down from last year, 1,308 to 1,242. But remember, it's only been a few years since we got over 1,000. That was kind of a big moment for us. Much of the decline is due to the contraction in the online market. But on the good side, our degree-seeking undergraduate in our on-ground number, that's up 13% over fall, and our graduate enrollment is up 75%. Part of this increase for degree seeking is because of our arrangement with the Owensboro Innovation Academy, but not all of it. We also have good news in our resident life population, which saw an increase this spring of 220 students living on campus compared to 208 last year. Because of the decline in online over the last couple of years, we decided to make some changes, specifically in freezing tuition, making the transfer of credits more effective, and evaluating the best way to implement the best practices in synchronous learning. Because these changes are so new, we have yet to see how they will impact online learning. But we have some anecdotal indications, Shanda, that they are being received positively by our prospective students. To further strengthen our on-ground enrollment, we're also making changes in how we leverage financial aid, primarily for our student athletes, and adding junior varsity to several of our sports. This action will actually free up additional funds to recruit high-achieving non-athletes. I should add that the recruitment of the MSW program is going very well. And while we're even still in process of receiving our full accreditation of the program from the CSWE. Fall to spring retention this year is up 3 points over last year, and our total day program enrollment this spring is up 12% compared to last year. So like many institutions, when it comes to enrollment, it's a mixed picture. Our staff, both for on-ground and online, work tirelessly to tell our story and to attract students. And we can see that in the fact that for next year, for the day program, deposits are up, and we've had an increase this year in campus visits, both by individuals and to our group programs. It's too early to know just yet, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Institutional advancement. Also important as storytellers. They make sure that our alumni, donors, friends, and wider community know about the Brescia difference. Under the leadership of Tracy Naylor, the Advancement Office includes communications and public relations, the Alumni Office, Donor Data Management, Annual Fund, Major Gifts Office, a Grants Writer, and Spirit Shop. And would everyone associated with the Advancement Office please stand and be recognized. Of course, when most people think of the Advancement Office, they often think of the current campaign that is underway. With the completion of the Moore Center, Brescia has a new face to our world. And because of donations, we were able to pay for that donation, for that renovation with no additional debt. And in fact, we were $400,000 under budget. Most of you know that we are beginning construction of the next phase in June 1st, groundbreaking April 26th, which we know will be called the C.E. Field Center for Professional Studies, housing the schools of business, social work, and education. As you probably know by now, we received an additional $1.3 million gift towards that project. One result of this is that our science building will now get a name after nearly 50 years of just being called the Science Building, named after these most recent donors, Roy and Vicki Roberts, and will be called the Roberts Science Center. This is in addition to an earlier gift this summer of $1 million from the Reed family, which is recognized with renaming of our business school as the Charles Albert Reed School of Business. Again, thanks to our Advancement Office, we are well on our way of achieving our fundraising goals for this project as well. I should add, in both of these instances, the names are of for alumni. These are people who started just like all of you all, that are students that are here, just trying to get a degree. Roy talks about the fact that when he went to school, when he was in grade school, he would walk to school, he would take a shotgun with him every day. This was in a different time. And on the way home, he was supposed to bring something back for his mom to cook. So he would hunt rabbits on the way home. So you can imagine, he didn't come from a very wealthy family and was able to get to Brescia through scholarships and help and worked while he was here. He is a very wealthy man now and was able to make this significant donation to Brescia because he wants you all to have the same experience that he did. Our alumni are engaged. Of course, the work of the advancement team covers more than just the current campaign. They're also responsible for the annual fund, which it's not as exciting as a building, but it covers the scholarships we give to our students, make sure we keep the lights on, helps with salaries and all sorts of other things. The Catholic community of Western Kentucky, I want to add, contributes to this every year as part of Brescia Sunday, and this year we had a record collection from our parishes. Thank you for being a part of Brescia's story, because it's your story, our story, that makes that possible. Those people that are sitting in those pews aren't just going, oh, I want to give to Brescia. They hear the story, and because they hear and know the story, they want to invest in you and in your education. Our alumni continue to be involved at increasing rates. This year we honored Jason and Eric Kiles, Paul Warren and Sister Sharon Sullivan as we inducted them into the roles of the Distinguished Alumni. And in collaboration with the athletic department, our advancement team helped with our first Athletic Hall of Fame banquet during homecoming. And now, business and finance. You know, I don't have a PowerPoint this time, so I can't put up my picture of Scrooge McDuck swimming through all his gold swimming pool, because we're supposed to be teasing Dale about that, but unfortunately Dale couldn't be here today, so it doesn't matter anyway. That Dale does more than just hunt after you for receipts that you forgot to turn in. As the most senior of our vice presidents, along with his staff, he makes sure that we stay financially solvent and that our offices operate with the best practices of business and finance. Here are the areas that report to business and finance: maintenance and housekeeping, the business offices, information technology, human resources, textbook manager's office, and the mail room. Would all of you please stand that are associated with the business and finance office? As you can see from that list, Dale's responsibilities move a little bit beyond what we normally consider the purview of business and finance. These men and women work very hard, often behind the scenes, to make sure that the Brescia difference happens. Most of you could not do your jobs without clean and maintained buildings and offices, without computers and technology. We depend on this area to protect our rights as employees, and in fact, making sure that we get our paychecks. Every one of those that stood is also an educator and integral in bringing the Brescia difference to life. I usually share some of our budget information later in the summer, but for the purposes of this morning, I'll just share some key financial indicators. Like enrollment, we have a mixed bag. BU Online tuition is down and under budget as a result of declining online enrollments. However, total tuition and fees revenue is up over the previous year, although not as much as we had hoped. The same can be said for room and board. It is up over last year, but not as we had budgeted. Another positive is that our discount rate is not only lower than last year, but also lower than budgeted for full-time tuition. And while we don't know what the numbers for this year will ultimately end up, won't know that until the end of May and an audit, I can tell you for fiscal year 17, last year, the board received the audit for that in October. Our total net assets increased from $27.61 million to $30.73, and that includes buildings and everything. And that our unrestricted net assets increased from $9.08 million to $14.3 million. There are two important ratios that we look at. One from the Department of Education called the Financial Responsibility Score. You have to stay above 1.5. We're currently at the highest, which is a 3.0. At one time, don't forget, we were significantly below 1 several years ago. The other one is called the CFI, and we're currently there at a 6.8, which is an increase from last year's 4.6. Our goal for that every year is to be around 4.5. Again, those are based on fiscal year 2017. Because of a decrease in revenue this year, we're in a tighter situation than we've been for a while, budget-wise, so being prudent and frugal is still important, especially since this is our final reporting year for reaffirmation of accreditation with SAC-COC. We need to have our numbers by May 31st to be as positive as possible. Finally, the President's Office. So I've got two folks. So Sally Halbig as my assistant and Carrie Blackham as Chief of Staff. Would you all please stand? They make sure that my office functions as effectively as possible, primarily making sure that I'm where I need to be. In addition to the usual day-to-day activities of the President's Office, I hope in the next couple of years to focus on strategic planning, as ours is coming to an end, the current plan, and our reaffirmation of accreditation. So that's who we are. I hope everyone stood and that no one was left out. So the question remains, how do we bring all of this together as a single functioning unit? It always amazes me at how complex a university is, even as one as small as we are. So what's our unifying force? Or perhaps better, what are our unifying forces? And I'll articulate three, and then I'm done. First, the Brescia difference. You probably thought you were going to get away with me not mentioning the Brescia difference, but it's not possible. Respect for the sacred, devotion to learning, commitment to growth in virtue, and promotion of servant leadership. All of us are a part of making this difference real in the lives of our students. The second unifying force, caritas, the Latin word for love. And you heard Josh talk a little bit about it in terms of our leadership development programs. Love one another as I have loved you. It's the only actual command that Jesus gave, where he says, I command you. We have a tendency to have added all sorts of other commands, but that's the one command that Jesus specifically spells out. Nothing is more powerful than love. It's this theme that runs through our leadership development program, our High School Institute for Theology, and the School of Social Work have made Caritas a central component of their program. And if that's the only command that Jesus gave, love one another, then as a Catholic Christian institution, we need to figure out how to make sure that when our students leave here, they take with them not only their education, all of their learning, the ability to get a great career, to start their lives, but also an understanding of how we love. How do we take that and make that part of our everyday lives? So it's my intention to continue to find ways to weave this value through all aspects of the Brescia difference, curricular and extracurricular. I hope all Brescia students will be strengthened in their identity as someone called to love, that they will understand what it means to be called to love, that they will take that love into action. These three things, identity, knowledge, and action, are the foundations of who we are, and I hope will become as an institution guided by love. Finally, the third unifying force comes from our foundress, St. Angela Merici. In her last counsel to her spiritual daughters, she wrote this, and I think it's so appropriate for all of us. She wrote, "My last word to you, by which I implore you, even with my blood, is that you live in harmony, united together, all of one heart and one will." Now notice she doesn't say one mind, so we don't all have to agree with each other, but we need to have that will, that core, love, as our unifying force. Be bound to one another by the bond of charity, esteeming each other, helping each, bearing with each other in Jesus Christ. For if you strive to be like this, without any doubt, the Lord will be in your midst. The state of our university is sound because of you and your hard work and dedication to the Brescia difference, your willingness to love, and the unity we have in heart and will. Even when we have differences, we are one because of that unity. And I am confident that because of that, Brescia will continue moving forward with strength and conviction. Thank you.
Before we close with prayer, I want to thank those who did the behind-the-scenes work to make today's convocation possible. I want to thank Brett Ballard for providing our music. Thank you, Brett. I also want to thank Danny Clark, Kenny Short, and the rest of the housekeeping staff who always do a wonderful job getting our facilities ready. Before we leave, I would also like to invite faculty, staff, and students who aren't on a lunch plan to lunch in O'Brien's Dining Hall immediately following this ceremony. Morgan Russellberg, our Director of Career Services. Morgan, raise your hand in the back there. Morgan will be in the Moore Center atrium with lunch tickets, so if you don't already have a meal plan, see Morgan and she'll get you a lunch ticket. Immediately after our benediction, our closing prayer, Brett Ballard will lead us in our alma mater, Brescia Brescia. It is now my pleasure to welcome Stephanie Wall, Administrative Assistant to the Vice President for Institutional Advancement and the 2017 recipient of the Spirit of Angela Award, to give our benediction. Please rise. Gentlemen, at this time, it is customary to remove your caps.
May the peace of Christ, which surpasses all understanding, which has its source within the very nature of Father, Son, and Spirit, be with us as we leave this lecture hall. And in the spirit of St. Angela, may we be bound to one another through charity. Just as you inspired her, may we too be open to the gentle whisper of the God of peace, speaking to us through our worship, scripture, and our various acts of servant leadership. We thank you, Lord, for the gifts of our students, faculty, staff, and administrators who generously serve Brescia University and the larger community of Owensboro and beyond. We ask that all that we do glorify you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.